Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to TechAlliance's Masterclass. My name is Christina Fox, and I'm the CEO here at the headquarters for TechAlliance. And we have a deep sense of gratitude and respect for this land, waters, and resources protected by Indigenous people for centuries. And I'd like to acknowledge that this is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Lenape, and the Attawandaron. Honoring all the original peoples of Turtle Island and recognizing the trauma, genocide, and history of Indigenous peoples, TechAlliance remains committed to working alongside all allies and Indigenous-led businesses to advance prosperity for the region's First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. TechAlliance empowers world-class ventures and fuels growth in Canada's innovation economy, and we're unique in our organization and providing entrepreneurs and ventures of all stages with professional development, story amplification, mentorship, coaching, connections, access to capital, customers, and talent to ensure that this innovation, economic growth is sustained for those folks who are brave enough and taking the risk to lead productive Canadian companies. What that means at TechAlliance is we have a team of venture growth advisors who have had a founder's experience that can support you as you face opportunities and challenges in your growth. And there are so many reasons to be an Alliance member, like amplifying your story by sending us your press releases, and we can push it out to our local and national media contacts. On social media, feel free to DM to our accounts with your updates so we can actively and quickly reshare your own posts. Our advocacy efforts, particularly in this time of economic chaos, is really with the intention to drive support for founders and innovators through uncertain times and new opportunities. And if you've got any questions regarding the current tariff landscape, please check our tariff resource page often. As we know, it's regularly changing, and Canadians and those around the world are looking for updates that may happen again today, tomorrow, and into the future. So on that page, you can also request referrals to professional service providers for taxation strategies, commercial insurance or employee benefits, legal risks, grants and non-dilutive funding, even supply chain optimization and wealth management. I encourage you to have a look at that page and make requests to us so that we can make individual and customer referrals that can help you right now and in the future. If you're already a TechAlliance member, congratulations and welcome. And it's easy to get a conversation started if you're not. If you want to engage with our venture growth team, read additional stories about innovation, shaping our community with world-changing ideas, or join other upcoming experiences like this one, I invite you to subscribe to our newsletter, and that's going to be dropped in the chat. So before we get this masterclass started, just a few housekeeping points. You're all on mute. You can just sit back and relax and enjoy all of this shared wisdom. And this masterclass will be available for replay on our YouTube channel. And if you've got any questions at all, go ahead and drop them in the Q&A feature. I'll be looking at them as we get toward the end of the masterclass, and be sure to address them if we've got time. And so with that, thinking about the subject matter of this masterclass today, certainly AI-powered search algorithms are revolutionizing SEO by prioritizing user content and user intent and behavior over traditional keyword strategies. So this shift actually demands that businesses like yours are focusing on creating authoritative, high-quality content to maintain visibility in search results. As AI transforms such search engines, traditional SEO tactics may no longer be sufficient, or it could be sort of a bolting on or a layering. So through this masterclass, we're going to explore this evolving digital landscape and discuss how to stay ahead in the search game by leveraging AI to keep your content discoverable. Here at TechAlliance, we're super excited about this topic, and are really even more excited to have someone with deep thought leadership sharing their insights today. So before I pass it over to Robert Rooke to lead our learning today, I wanted to thank our Masterclass series sponsor, Robertson Hall Insurance, for their continued support to the growing tech and innovation sector in London, Ontario, and Southwestern Ontario. TechAlliance members can actually take advantage of exclusive discounts by Robertson Hall Insurance. For more information, go ahead and drop the link in, visit the link that Sarah's going to drop in the chat. And when you're reaching out to them, let them know that you heard about Robertson Hall through our Masterclass series. They've been incredible supporters, and we want to make sure you're getting all the value that you need as it relates to your commercial insurance strategies. And so to our Masterclass instructor today. Robert is a programmer, analyst, and entrepreneur with a passion for technology that began in his teenage years through online communities and gaming. Now with expertise in coding, UX optimization, SEO, he has developed custom WordPress solutions and data-driven marketing strategies for businesses across e-commerce, healthcare, and education. So his hybrid business model blends freelancing and agency work to provide tailored client support. And on that, I'm going to shift this over to Robert.
Well, thank you for the introduction, Christina, and thank you, TechAlliance, for the opportunity. So today I want to talk about the changing landscape of SEO and what that really means. We've all seen and we've all heard SEO and search engine optimization, but we really want to look at, well, what really is search engine optimization? And I'm going to refer to Google many, many times throughout this presentation. Uh, and we want to create content that is relevant to our business, key phrases, and such. But let's look at what Google really is. If you think of Google as an answer engine, uh, where it is trying to find the most optimal engine for its particular viewer. People ask it questions, Google provides an answer. Let's see. So the use of artificial intelligence in this changing landscape has become one of the issues that Google is actually facing. So if Google is often challenged with finding relevant content that isn't fully AI developed, as AI can churn out massive amounts of content extremely quickly. And it was found early that Google's algorithms and search engine algorithms in general were actually preferring AI generated content. Now, this content may not be as high quality as human written content in many, many cases. And it's caused a great deal of volatility in the search ranking industry. So we're seeing rapid increases and decreases for across all metrics. And Google is working extremely hard at eliminating that volatility and weeding out 100% AI generated content. Excuse me for a moment. So, although AI can be used as an extremely powerful tool to help you create content, it's definitely not the end goal that you're after. It's going to be a supportive role. So, what we're going to want to do when you're looking at using artificial intelligence to produce more content and better content for your site is think of it as a use for writer's block. It will help you create many ideas, analyze your competition, and figure out how you can position yourself uh, better in the search rankings that you're looking for. So if we take a car dealership as an example, uh, if you are creating content for recipes, then you're not going to reach your customers. You want to be extremely specific and tailor all of your key phrases and content uh, to exactly what your business and services are offering. So just give me one moment. So if uh, we're going to use many tools in the process to help determine which key phrases that you would like to focus on. And one of those being SEMrush. And we've all seen huge, massive charts of information and data that really becomes very overwhelming in when we're looking at SEO. So we'll see, the number of impressions, the number of viewers, the where your search ranking lists, and lots of buzzwords. How do you filter through all of that content? And can ChatGPT and other AI tools help you filter through that? And absolutely. Okay, Just give me one moment. I'm just having a slight technical issue here. Christina, can you step in for just a moment?
Yeah, I'm
My
happy to.
apologies. Yep, my
Hey, Robert, if
apologies.
you wanna, if you're good to go, you give me the thumbs up, and otherwise I can chat about a couple of things we've got on the go coming up.
Yeah, if you don't mind, just while I correct this little problem.
You betcha. And so our backend support is going to it's going to take you off camera and turn off your audio. And then that way, if it's related to your slides, we know that these technical difficulties can happen and we're here to support you. Awesome. So I'd love to offer some insight on things that we're seeing as it relates to AI. You know, often members of our team have the great opportunity to join panels of other events that are being hosted that are focused on AI. And one of the things that I have observed, maybe even over the last 18 months, is, you know, it went from the scary space of AI is coming and robots are coming and really unknown what the future could hold. And I would say for each panel discussion that I've participated on, or each opportunity that I've gone to learn more about the power of AI, I'm a big fan of AI is a significant opportunity to unlock potential creative opportunity for teams, for companies, and using AI tools and embedding them and giving a whole lot of permission to folks who are within your team to accelerate and create greater productivity is one of those things that's a big benefit. When I learned that Robert was going to join us today to talk about the impact of AI on SEO, it was one of those things where I started to think about, so what happens when you do a search in like ChatGPT? I imagine that many of you have the pro version, and what happens when that interacts with a normal search engine? And does this have the same impact on search engines like Google and otherwise? And then with that insight, how do you have a more powerful and compelling customer experience following the search, driving them traffic to your properties and creating kind of that flywheel effect? I see Robert's back on
Yes.
screen. And is that my thumbs
Yeah,
up to
that is.
get
Yep,
out of
my
here?
apologies. Sorry about that.
You betcha, Robert. These things happen even to the best of us. So, you know, just holler and let us know if your tech is moving or not moving, and we can jump back in.
Sounds good. Yep, we're good to go. Okay, so we want to always consider SEO as a long-term strategy. And one of the things that we're seeing, especially in this AI-driven marketplace, is we see rapid rises in uh, people reaching the top of Google or any other or other search engines extremely rapidly, and that's really not a natural movement and position. And usually, what that'll lead to is Google will actually realize that they are taking advantage of some AI tools and things like that, using them maliciously, essentially, and Google will penalize and will drop back rapidly. So we always have to think of SEO as a long-term strategy, and it will continue to build upon itself to give sustainable results that essentially last for years to come. Where if you people that are looking for rapid growth, obviously SEM or like paid and pay-per-click model is the way to go to reinforce your SEO strategy while you're working through that. So what we all often find is people are very hesitant to purchase SEO support and SEO systems because you don't see immediate results. It's not like an ad where you're clicking. There is a lot of effort that goes into it. But using tools like, again, ChatGPT to generate and craft partial articles for you and using that to contribute into your site helps both standard and search engine like Google find you, but as well as ChatGPT. ChatGPT and other AI models are automatically continuously scanning websites for information. And if you're structuring your content properly so that it is first and foremost, human readable and relevant, then next structured so that Google and other search engines and ChatGPT can actually read and consume and understand the content that you're producing. So you're not just creating search phrases and keywords that you're filling and providing in your article. You want that content to be relevant to your customer and searchable. So what I mean by searchable is it's answering a question that people are asking specifically in search models and ChatGPT AI models. So to help get your business suggested and featured by new generative tools like AI and ChatGPT, there's Geo Properly Now, and that's methods of, again, structuring your content so that it's consumable specifically for AI. It's a component where you will have a pieces of the source code, the code in your site that's designed specifically for bots and engines to read as opposed to human reader. We always want to remember that our human reader and the content is our top priority. Just give me a moment to catch up here. So one of the uh, best best methods and best tools and uses of ChatGPT, at least for us internally, is keyword research. We can use tools like ChatGPT and other AI to help find one, uh, your competitors' keywords. How are they ranking? How are you ranking in comparison? And how to fill in that gap. So using specific prompts to ask uh, ChatGPT, you can create a repeatable process that will help you analyze your competition, where they rank, and where you rank in comparison, and the content that you require to add to your site or structural changes that you need on your site to actually close that gap and eventually overtake them. Uh, you can use tools like SEMrush to also contribute and give you reportable feedback continuously on the improvements or potential declines and changes that you're making on your site, and take action accordingly to either improve or catch yourself from slipping. So I spoke previously about Google is trying extremely hard to prevent AI, fully 100% AI content from taking over the internet. There's good reason that you can't have AI completely generate content for you on your behalf, hands-free. In one instance, there is a situation, and one of our clients had content, and one of the requests was to how to remove wrinkles from pool liners. ChatGPT, for example, recommended ironing. So obviously, if that content was published on the client site without any human intervention, it wouldn't look as positive as uh, it wouldn't look positive. So you definitely want to, as you're generating and creating content using AI, you definitely want to read it through, make sure it's natural and relevant. ChatGPT and other AI tools, although they have a lot of content or a lot of information, and they usually structure it very well, they do make repeated mistakes and grammatical errors. They're not 100%. So always go through, restructure, rewrite, and think of it as a tool to help you through writer's block and give you ideas on content creation. And human intervention and human creation of articles and content, it gives further human credibility as well. It's more relatable to your audience. So are people going to go obsolete? It's not likely, or at least not anytime soon. So as I had said, you can rapidly generate a wide variety of content ideas. Use audience and SEO data to inform and enrich content creation and brainstorm high volumes of original content angles. So Google uses semantics to create variations of the key phrases that you have on your site. You can also use those to reinforce the ideas and concepts that you're trying to express through your business web page and your business content. So 5 actionable ways to scale your business using AI-powered SEO. Excuse me. So analysis is going to be one of the main components. And the analysis will tell you how Google views and other search engines view your site. And it could be very different than the way you believe your site and its content is being is designed. It will help you determine what how your competitors and where you compare to them, how your customers view you, and where your customers are located. So there's a lot of information that you're collecting that way that you can utilize to craft and redirect your content so that it is more relevant. And that can be location-based information, it can be gender-based information, it can be age. There's multiple factors, and it all depends on your particular business and your services. So every SEO tool and every business is requires a different SEO strategy. There's no uh, one tool or one application that fits the box, fits everything for everyone. So you're going to want to create a framework for scalable growth. One of the things is obviously this day and age, everyone should have HTTPS protocol. We should be living on a secure internet at this point. Speed optimization is extremely important, and optimization just in general. Uh, Mobile optimization, as in meaning your site should seamlessly work both on desktop, mobile, as well as the many other screens that are out there. So we can think of tablets, there's even fridges. So we want to optimize for as many screens as possible. Optimize image quality. Images can be extremely large on a website. We want to shrink those down again for faster delivery and make sure they fit the areas that they're working in. So clear web structure. What that means is having the correct markup, meaning proper headers, proper bolding, proper paragraphs, proper structure. Not only does that help ChatGPT understand your website and the content and your message, it does the same thing for Google as well. Google is able to pull out the most important key components in your article better if it's structured better. And that's great news for search engines, but it's also good for your reader. A well-structured article is much easier to read than a collection of words jammed into a page. A sizable crawl budget. Google will crawl your page on a frequency. Now, it will often be based on how often you're posting content. So the more frequently you're posting content and the more consistently you're posting content, the more likely you are to have ChatGPT and other search engines actually visiting your site and collecting new changes, new information, giving you more opportunities for more key phrases and stronger ranking in key phrases that you are already existing. Core web vitals, that can be things, speed, how quickly it's being delivered. Again, speed, how quickly it's being delivered. Um, the, excuse me for a moment. And if it's using proper protocol, it's kind of a collection of everything we have here. And an XML sitemap, although it's a very old protocol, it's still extremely relevant today. It helps search engines learn what your priority content pages are, as well as pages that they really shouldn't be visiting. So you can tell it to ignore some sections of your website that aren't relevant to your message. Okay, so then we can talk about funnels. So the top of funnel SEO focuses on attracting potential customers at awareness stages of the buyer journey, providing that's more of the informational side. And this is what really comes down to long tail and short tail key phrases. Short tail key phrases are the shorter version. So again, if we look at the uh, a car dealership as an example. If there is a Subaru or let's say a Toyota dealership, and people are looking for a used Toyota Camry, 1993 used Toyota Camry, that would be considered a long tail key phrase. People actively searching for that particular key phrase would be further down the buyer's journey than somebody looking for a used Toyota. So you can see you can focus on two different metrics and two different customers and their purchase activity and their conversion activity based on the overall length of the key phrase you're targeting. So you can, it helps you find buyers that are closer to the buying stage, or if you're looking at reaching a larger audience, using shorter key phrases that will help you reach more people. So it's a very good way to introduce people into different stages of your purchasing funnel. And again, I've mentioned SEMrush many times throughout this presentation. SEMrush is one of the tools we use internally, and it provides us with metrics to help us further analyze granular information about who your Google views and other search engines view as your main competitors, how they're ranking, where they're ranking, and allows us to track any of their ranking changes over months on end. What this does is it allows us to see where you are in comparison, the key phrases you're missing or you have that's superior to them, and help you make a blended approach in creating and generating new relevant content that will help you overtake your competition or rank alongside them. And with that information, obviously, comes revenue growth, and you can drastically reduce expenditure on advertising, because if you're already ranking #1 for a particular key phrase or keyword, you don't necessarily need to further spend on advertising dollars. So you can save quite a bit. Now, the wonderful part about that is SEO, once you've generated it, it lasts for years to come, where with traditional SEM or PPC advertising, as soon as you turn the money off, the traffic stops along with it. And again, we can track both. We can help you and show you how to, using SEMrush, how to track yourself as well as your competitors. And I highly recommend everyone review SEMrush for their own use as well. And again, this we discussed helps you break down potential weaknesses and see inaccuracies in the information that you have on your site. These tools are great, and they are AI backed to help you help provide further insight on how to improve your search rankings overall. And again, when looking at all of this information and data, you're absolutely welcome to reach out to us, and we can help decipher and translate that information for you to help you develop a relevant, focused strategy to further improve your search ranking in both Google, ChatGPT, and other Bing and other search engines. So if anyone has any questions, that's where I really shine. So I would love to open the floor up for anyone to ask. And I thank everybody for listening. This is my first time doing this, so hopefully I wasn't too nervous and didn't stumble too many times, but I really enjoyed doing it.
Right on. Thanks, Robert. And you know what? Switching to questions where you can shine is a great idea. I love the content that you shared today. There's clearly an awful lot of interest that you have through PressHero to make your client companies and your customers have the opportunity to take potential customers from top of funnel right through to bottom of the funnel and convert into a sale. And so we had a couple of questions that were actually submitted in advance. And so I will offer again to those who are watching us live, please go ahead and throw questions in the Q&A. That's where I'll be looking for questions from our audience. And Robert, we'll start with a couple of questions that we received in advance. Now, some of these you may have actually already covered, and I would maybe just encourage you, think about the question as it is, maybe refer back to the content that's in your presentation and or share it in a different way. Sound good?
Sure, absolutely.
Wicked. Okay. So, one of the things that we often see is as it relates to performance measurement, authenticity on a website, and ensuring that customers can get to the thing that they're looking for based on the way that they're searching. So are there any new metrics or signals that AI driven search engines prioritize? And if there are, maybe name 2 or 3 that are sort of top of mind, and then how do businesses adapt their content accordingly? And I would love for you to give kind of an A/B example. If you go back to like the Toyota Camry versus somebody who is baking like one-of-a-kind muffins or something
Right.
really wildly different. So new metrics or signals that are driving AI driven search engines, and how are they prioritizing based on those metrics or signals? And then how can businesses adapt their current content accordingly?
Okay. Well, it's not necessarily that it's a new structure. There is something called structured data and metadata that you can embed in the source code of your site that helps you specify specific content and specific key phrases that you want to show in different locations. We've seen in Google search, as an example, the shopping banner that goes into a search bar after at the top of the page. That's an example of structured metadata, and that can be different for every many sites. So you can set the meta tags however you would like. Well, there's a few to choose. There's many to choose from. So you can specify specifics of what that page means. And not only does it help ChatGPT understand your site further, it helps Google understand the site further. And we'll see Gemini pick up that information, as well as ChatGPT more likely to pick it up. Again, we can look at the search metrics where you'll see, and again, it's not new, but you'll see drop downs where in search you can open it up and it's a question and there's an answer, and that answer is pulled from any particular site or what Google believes is the most relevant at the given time. Again, that comes down to structuring your page and site so that it has a question and answer kind of format. Google is an answer engine. It's designed to provide people answers to their questions. So if you provide questions and answers on your website, Google will be really happy to provide you the opportunity of the traffic.
Awesome. There's a question from the audience, and I love it. It's related to Google Ad Search.
Sure.
Is there anything that they should create specifically, like a landing page, or just drive traffic to the homepage?
Okay, that's a great question, and that's actually been changing rapidly right now. It's one of the huge changes that are occurring. Traditionally, we would create ads and we'd have a landing page, and we'd have ads with specific key phrases that would drive traffic to that particular landing page. In the last 6 months, 8 months, we have found that Google's AI performance max campaigns are actually doing a better job than any human at just determining where to send people in from ad campaigns to landing pages, which means it's kind of phasing the whole concept of landing page out. Where if you create a well-crafted performance max campaign, Google will look at your entire site, determine what your services are, and figure out how to create ads that target your already existing content pages for you. And we're seeing, on average, 70% better performance than traditional methods.
Awesome. Okay. What key skills or knowledge should entrepreneurs and businesses invest in now to remain competitive in an AI-driven SEO landscape?
Great question, and very hard predictor. Um, what skills? I would definitely still stay focused on overall content design, meaning we still want to look at the technology behind everything that drives that content. So what's still going to be relevant, that at least from what I can see, is still going to be database design. There's still going to be programming behind it. ChatGPT and other AI tools, although they help with programming, they make a lot of mistakes, and you end up almost rewriting half of it. So definitely keep your focus on the coding side of it, and at least for now, or at least I'm hoping, and I'm probably biased in this answer as a programmer analyst, but the programming side is still definitely relevant. Other metrics that I'm seeing where artificial intelligence can't help with is actually the tagging for tracking. So learning things like G tag clicking, and knowing how to collect that information properly is still very, very relevant.
Okay. So two questions that are really similar, but I think one has a different applicability. We know that entrepreneurs often, fail fast or they plan for the failures.
Right?
What are some of the common mistakes that you see entrepreneurs making with regards to SEO and AI?
Well, ignoring SEO to begin with,
Yeah.
uh, and expecting that they will place their site and Google will magically place them at number one. Uh, Number two is not reading that data correctly,
Yeah.
misinterpreting the data, not knowing how to apply active methods to gain traction and momentum in search engines.
Okay.
So,
What about a person in the audience is asking about tools like SEMrush, and they disclose that they tend to get a bit overwhelmed with the information.
right,
And so what would you recommend for them? What are the key metrics that they should pay attention to? And even on the opposite of that, what are the underrated metrics to
sure.
not pay attention to at all?
Okay. Well, looking at analytics and SEMrush tools, for example, you can get a million impressions, a million, let's as an example. But if nothing is converting, then it doesn't matter how many people are arriving. So what we always tend to look at is where are your strong points? In SEMrush, for example, we'll have a list of pages and key phrases that you're ranking well for. Where are those rankings going to? Are they going to the right pages? Are they because that gives you a very good indication of Google's understanding of your product and service. If they're not pointing to the right pages, or they're not relevant key phrases to what you want people searching for, then you know that there needs to be changes. Some of the metrics that I look at uh, on a daily basis are, you want your site to be load in under 3 seconds. There's things like that. It can, when it comes to those types of metrics, it can be very different for every business and every site. But overall, you want to look at your engagement rate, the time on the page, and the returning visitors. As that's going to be your most important metrics in the beginning, or actually at any point in the business.
Awesome. Okay, so it was a follow-on question to an audience member, and they said they're just sort of a light SaaS solution company,
Yes.
and their request is, should they be using, or they use a simple one-page website, probably just with the scroll,
Yep.
versus traditional multiple-page design. Do you recommend one model over the other as far as Google catching the keywords?
Okay, and that's a great question. If everything is said in one page, that's great. If you have traction and you're found and people are finding you, and you don't need to put in any other effort, you can go with one page. Excuse me. But what I find is, especially with startups, a multi-page approach gives you the opportunity to continuously add new pages, like in creating a blog or a news channel, things like that. So you can continuously add new content and new opportunity. So you can talk about how your product or service is being used as an example. What that allows is for search engines to look at semantic ways that your key phrases and relate to other key phrases on your site. That builds your domain authority, allows Google to trust you more, giving you more opportunity to rank higher. So
Okay.
content is still king. Keep adding content, keep creating it. Just don't rely 100% on AI.
I love it. So I know that you chat a little bit about sort of the evolving opportunity to have new content. Content is king. I'm with you all day long. When you think of people who have more complex sites, more complex experiences, what's the advice that you can give to those folks that with AI continuing to evolve at the speed that it is,
Yes.
how future-proof their SEO and content strategies against continuous change, just knowing that they're going to have a lot of pages to monitor? Is it a matter of streamlining some content and constantly improving? Is it a matter of, having sort of a project managed focus and looking at your pages on a regular audit to change the content? What are the things that you would recommend, particularly if it's
Sure.
like an entrepreneur or a set of co-founders with maybe a small team and they've got customer traction, but they want to make sure that their content stays relevant without focusing all of their time on content.
Absolutely. It can quickly turn into a full-time job.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at existing content and trying to maintain it, obviously it has to be relevant. If we're talking about something that is 10 years old that isn't relevant today, then maybe that content isn't required. Now, having to keep up with all that information can absolutely be taxing. SEMrush and other tools, I just personally really like SEMrush, so I keep promoting it. um, it can help you analyze or keep track of all of that information on its own. It gives you, you'll pull it up, your report will tell you what blogs are still relevant. If something is no longer getting content or data, you can look, it's telling you there's zero traffic. So that's not benefiting your site any at that point in time. And you can make the decision, is this content that we should be upgrading because we're chasing or we want that key phrase, we want to rank for it and we're not, so let's improve it. Otherwise, you can decide to remove that content and open up space for crawlers to see more information or newer information about you.
Awesome. When you think of even like traditional SEO, where some folks have combated questions to answer, so somebody is further down the funnel for a quicker sale conversion.
Sure.
Is there anything that you would recommend, even on those FAQ pages, that are more adaptive to AI-driven search engine?
Well, AI works very much very similar to traditional search engines. It's looking at it trained on the same content. It trained on traditional search. So
Right.
there's not necessarily a lot of change that you have to make for it to help find you. Uh, it's more about having just proper structure. It really needs very well structured information. One thing that I always like to mention is when you're using tools like ChatGPT, ChatGPT doesn't necessarily show you where it got its content. So it's not going to necessarily give you any benefit for ChatGPT borrowing your content for their answers, where a traditional search engine still shows where the content came from and where to click. So my focus isn't necessarily on showing up in ChatGPT, but using ChatGPT as a tool to enhance content for our clients.
Okay, and so a great follow-on question is, have you tried any other different models other than ChatGPT, and what do you recommend?
You know what? I have tried a bunch of them off the top of my head. ChatGPT, I've tried Gemini, I've tried Grok as well.
Yeah.
Uh, they all have their strengths and weaknesses. Uh, Grok, I actually like seeing some of the images that it generates. Also, Canva has a lot of
Yeah.
tools built in for creating graphical images and things like that. Uh, but they all have their pros and cons. And
Mhm.
I find that it really comes down to personal preference. Myself, when it comes to uh, content creation and prompt generation. I create prompts that I can use repeatedly to get relevant information back in a very structured format. And I find ChatGPT is absolutely excellent for that. I find Grok to be really great for discussing project requirements. It can list them out and provide me very detailed information and even produce some half decent code here and there. So it really does come down to a personal preference. Try them and see which one fits your use case.
Awesome. Um, a, talking about content, there's a couple of really great questions in the Q&A. We'll keep
Okay.
getting to them. So content is king, but how do you use podcasts or video content to help the website rank better, considering that content isn't as easily crawlable by the search engine when it's in a podcast or a video? What are the
Absolutely.
recommendations you make?
Absolutely. So Google can't quite see inside videos yet. One of the things you can do, lots of people take their video, they convert it to audio. So there's lots of different formats. Now you'll have seen on many sites where there's a little snippet that says, how long the content is and things like that. So, or sorry, I should start again. Uh, Transcribing the video and creating traditional content alongside it can be extremely helpful, as well as adding things like little snippets to say how long the content is. So the person knows if I read this content, it's going to be X number of minutes versus watching the video. I myself can read an article much faster than watching a video most of the time. I prefer written content. Some people prefer video content, but again, transcribing, placing it into a traditional content so Google and other search engines can read it in full and understand it is your best method, or at
Awesome.
least that's what I find.
Okay. A question comes from the person is a BD for a legal recruitment company covering multiple jurisdictions. They're just getting started. And
Yes.
so is there anything that they can do in the early stages to get AI to pick up on their website? Is the answer really you have to have powerful SEO in order for AI to be like, hey, we're open over here?
Well, obviously, no one will have powerful SEO in the beginning.
Right.
One, your domain authority will be low. Google takes time to trust. So even if you are churning out great content over and over and over again, Google still probably won't trust you yet, and will still rank you low no matter how hard you try. In those scenarios, and you mentioned that they're location based, definitely have, or is it that they have multiple locations? Is that the case?
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Okay, so you definitely want to have a specific page that talks about the area so that Google understands that you are multi-location. And we've done this for many companies. A lot of times we'll use landings where people can search by postal code to take them to a specific component or place on their page, or specific landing page for location. Excuse me. Then the only real supporting factor is unfortunately using pay-per-click ads, pay-per-click methods like and SEM to drive traffic in the beginning until Google can start to trust you. Another way is now backlinks. I've always thought of as a very old-fashioned method. Uh, you know, backlinks are still relevant if they're placed in the right location. Using backlinks too frequently, Google may penalize you for it, and they'll think that you're kind of stuffing. So
Mhm.
again, if we look at the analogy of the car dealership, if you're a used car dealership and you put a backlink on a cupcake site, it's not going to do you a lot of good. But if you were able to get your backlink onto Motor Trend in an article about used Toyotas, that's going to be extremely powerful and up your um, uh, domain authority, meaning Google will have a higher likelihood of trusting you, helping you raise all of your content up in search engines. So hopefully that
I love
helps.
it. So you actually jumped ahead and answered how long does it, or what does it take to get Google to trust on the website? I love the examples you just gave, particularly as you use backlinking with other trusted sources to actually increase your ranking.
Yes.
And it sounds to me like sort of the way to game it to get the trust of Google is to do some of that pay to play model in the
Yeah.
beginning.
In the
I
beginning. Yeah,
appreciate that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was another neat question. Do you recommend a silo blog structure for SEO?
Uh, I'm not familiar with that term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm not
yeah,
familiar
whoever
with
put that in, if there's more background that you can offer, and I would be happy to ask that question a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about, are there any tools or tips that can help for repurposing dead or broken backlinks on other websites? Because it's tedious reaching out manually, and should
Some
you even be doing that?
SEMrush does, in fact, have a tool that you can help do that. One of the easiest methods, though, is find something similar inside your current content where you can redirect on arrival. So it may not be exact, but at least you're not hitting 404.
Okay.
So that's
Um,
probably the quickest way, because again, yeah, trying to reach out to they can be in thousands of locations sometimes, and it just isn't worth the time isn't relevant. It's just too time consuming.
okay. I love this content or this question. It's a lot of awesome information today about using AI to create new content, but how can we use AI to optimize the content that already exists on the website?
Okay, uh, definitely, it's usually you can copy and paste it in and see what it comes out with. Just remember to read it thoroughly, make sure it's relevant and you didn't make any mistakes. Again, it's going to come down to structure. AI won't necessarily structure your content perfectly. You're going to always want to remember to use heading tags, bold tags, and things like that. And use a very well thought out and kind of a 1, 2, 3 essay style writing, and that's going to be helpful. You can even help the prompt or create a prompt that will help you create that kind of style output as well. So there's many ways you can kind of channel that and just have fun with it, play with it, test it out, and just remember when you're going back to your website to tag it properly. That's going to be the most important part.
Okay. And then when you think about like the idea of playing and testing, you know, switching out content, having some variability on your site, is there, you know, recognizing that entrepreneurs have a thousand things on the go, is
Right.
there
Yes,
any
of
sort
course.
of best interval or frequency to posting new content from the SEO standpoint? Is there ever too much? Is there ever too little? What's kind of the
Sure.
gap where you lose trust?
Okay, it all depends on, there's a lot of factors. Okay, so what we like to say, at least when people are starting out, 1 to 2 times a month, so once every week or every 2 weeks, it's a very good starting point. Now, the more frequently you post, the more frequently Google is likely to come back and check if there's new content.
Mhm.
Now, that said, if you're posting articles that really aren't relevant, they're really not useful for humans, and nobody's coming to read them, then Google's going to ignore them as well. But if we take very large companies and classified sites like Kijiji as an example, uh, Google's search engine is checking that almost by the minute, because people are posting very relevant content continuously. So it really does depend on the situation and what's being posted and what the traffic base is looking for.
Interesting. And then what about, so regardless of frequency, what about harmonizing content across multiple sites, whether that's your social media, your blog, your podcast? Would you say traditional SEO or even AI-driven SEO penalizes for appropriate and consistent key messaging, or is it good to not harmonize your content across those platforms?
Well, what we'd like to do is it depends on which direction you want the traffic to flow, either going from your site to social media or social media to your site. We'll often place teaser content or small excerpts because obviously in social media, you're restricted to the length of the content. So we'll have the bulk of the article on a blog or a page on your own site, have a bit of teaser information content on social media and other platforms. So ideally funneling everyone back to your website to read the full article and engage there. Now, that said, it's great to spread that content out, and making slight variations to each one to fit the platform better. It makes sense, at least from our standpoint.
Okay. You know, we're coming down to 4 minutes remaining of the time that's been given to us with our audience. And so like any good organization like TechAlliance, we're going to ask you to give your pitch. And I know we typically don't use a masterclass as a sales pitch opportunity, but you know what? There were some really good questions about, you know, raise your hand if you're the person that's getting a lot of emails that says, I can help you optimize your
Yeah,
website. Robert, why don't you just share a little bit about what you do that's different? And of course, Sarah is going to be kind enough to drop your contact information in the
sure.
chat. But why don't you go ahead and do that? And for those of you who are not sticking around to the end, you know, take good care. We'll see you next time. Summer Shakers just gone live today for May 29th. We hope to see all your friendly faces there. So that's my starting to do my final remarks, but I want to give you the
Wonderful.
opportunity, Rob, to chat
Okay.
with us.
All right. Well, we work on a subscription model. So you're only paying for what you receive, and you own everything that we create for you after we're done. Uh, so you're never overpaying, and ideally you're not, not underpaying either. Uh, but I guess I'm not really. Sales isn't my strong point. I have a passion for what I do, so uh, we do offer our SEO Booster, which is a monthly audit, meaning we take analysis of your competitors, your own site, keyword gaps, and we decipher all of that data for you and give you what the most economical actions that you can take immediately are. So that's one of our base SEO packages. But along that, we help with absolutely every aspect of your website. We've done everything from simple, basic informational websites to entire healthcare management systems. So we can help with just about everything in between. And again, we're a subscription-based model, so you're not paying a quote where the person quoted you X number of dollars, and it ends up taking them 5 hours. You pay if we work for 5 hours, you pay the 5 hours. So,
Cool.
and yeah, that's kind of our difference between everyone else. And we're open and very transparent. We ideally meet with our client once a month, or if it's a project based, bi-weekly.
Awesome. Well, listen, there was another question that came in. It was
Sure.
giving a bit of background on the silos. So I'm going to encourage, part of what we do at TechAlliance is fostering a vibrant technology community. And I'm going to
Yes.
encourage the person who put that in to actually do the reach out to Rob. I think there's a real curiosity of what silo means and how there's the concentration, and I would love to know more. But we have come to the end of time, and
Yeah.
I think if there's a couple of people on this recording here today that want to connect in with Rob, please do. And if you're watching the replay version of this, Rob can easily be connected through the team at TechAlliance. So I want to offer certainly my thanks to everybody who joined us today over the lunch hour. We certainly enjoy having speakers who have the kind of depth in thought leadership that you do today, Rob. Love the work that you're doing at PressHero and how you continue to drive current content and deep support for technology companies that are among the most promising and fastest and highest potential companies in this region. And of course, we want to also thank our friends at Robertson Hall Insurance and for their support of the work that we do here at TechAlliance and bringing this kind of value to companies who are on a learning journey or companies who are making a pivot. So your insight is nothing short of inspiring, Rob. Thanks so much for joining us. And for everybody else, take good care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.